So in this section, we're gonna be talking about insulation, why it's important, what to use, what not to use, and how to properly install the stuff. So in this van, we have wool. It's becoming really, really popular. We use it all the time because it is the easiest one to install. It's not the cheapest, but it's environmentally friendly. It's, works really, really well. It does smell a little bit like a farm when you install it, but the smell goes away very fast, I promise. It doesn't look as professional because it does come in these smaller strips. So you're kind of at the mercy of, this size. So you do kind of need to patch this thing together. So it kind of looks like an ugly quilt, but it works really, really well. Super pretty, it's easy to tear. You don't need to use scissors. You don't need to cut all these pieces. You just kind of glue it and stick it wherever, wad up, fill up all your holes. One thing I would recommend is before you get your walls up, let this be the last thing you do. If you drill a screw into something, that screw will grab that wool or that insulation and spin it up. It gets in the way of cutting holes for your insulation. It just gets in the way. So I know we're kind of doing some stuff out of order, but let the insulation be the last thing you do before getting your walls up. It makes life a whole lot easier. But some of the benefits of a nicely insulated van is one, of course, it keeps your van warm in the wintertime. It also keeps your van very, very cool in the summertime. And another thing that no one really ever talks about is how much quieter it makes your van. That's one of the best things about insulating your van, is making sure you get that road noise down. So now that we've talked about wool, we're going to talk about some other insulations that you can use. One really, really popular one is 3M Thinsulate. Now this stuff is awesome. It's not that expensive. It's a little bit cheaper than the wool, but it does require some work. You do have to cut the stuff apart. A nice pair of shears really helps. A rotary cutter, it looks like a pizza cutter, but it's like a razor blade. You can trace everything out. That makes life a lot easier. When you install this stuff, it certainly looks the best. Always glue the black side. I see a lot of people gluing this side. That's fine. It's not the end of the world if you've already done it. But as you can see, this stuff just peels right off. So being able to glue this side, it's gonna adhere to the walls. So I'm gonna show some practices with the wool when we glue this down, but glue this side, let it sit for a little bit, and a little bit of glue on the ceiling, and also let it sit a few minutes. It'll really, really hold if you do that. This stuff definitely holds to your walls better than any other insulation. And the wool and this stuff, they're anti-mold. They don't, hold moisture. They do well with water. Another thing to bring up while we're talking about insulation is vapor barriers. Do not install a vapor barrier. You already have a vapor barrier. That's this piece of steel, the outside of your van. So if you put a vapor barrier up there, you've effectively locked off your wall's ability to breathe. So just put walls up. Don't seal this with plastic. It's just a bad idea. There is another kind of insulation that's a little kind of eco-friendly. It's all cotton. It's denim. So it's blue insulation. It's not itchy. Looks like a bunch of shredded up jeans. But it's similar to wool in the sense that it's, it doesn't glue to the wall as well. I think after a while it does start to sag. We stopped using it. We used it really, really early on. But between the wool and the Thinsulate, those are the only two we use. One major red flag, do not use your traditional insulation like fiberglass insulation. You're gonna roll your walls, your windows down when you're driving. Walls are gonna vibrate. That stuff is gonna get into the air. You do not wanna breathe that stuff. That kind of insulation gets installed in a house and the house doesn't move. And of course you have wind and stuff like that, but that is for residential stuff only. Do not use the nasty insulation. I know it's cheap and I know it's tempting, but it's just gross. Just use either Thinsulate or wool. A lot of people ask about spray foam insulation. We don't do that, But if you are gonna do that, I highly recommend finding a professional, someone who has done this kind of stuff before. Spray foam insulation, we have done it before, and if you don't put it on perfectly even, it will expand at different rates and it gets very hot. And that can cause all these deformations on the outside of your van, and then all this different patchy, just not, well even kind of depths of insulation. So if you have experience with spray foam, go ahead and give it a shot. But if you don't, either bring it somewhere or think of a different option. It's not the best way to go, in our opinion.